I tweeted it. If you guys
All right. We are live. It's the Spin and Backfist MMA show for Wednesday, August 14th. Happy birthday, Feidelberg.
happy birthday fights.
And we are here to talk UFC 305, PFL. It's going to be a good weekend of fights. I'm very excited for it. Of course, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. You see it below us. I'll throw the little lower third on for you here. New Amsterdam is the official vodka of not only the UFC, but Barstool Sports as well. You can find your wins with New Amsterdam because it is a champion vodka. You match it up against any other vodka, and it's a knockout for New Amsterdam. So whether you're catching the pay-per-view at your favorite bar or hanging at home listening to us talk about it, celebrate your wins with insanely smooth New Amsterdam vodka. PFL, UFC, a lot of opportunity to, party with some New Amsterdam.
Yeah, you can make your own cocktail. Maybe you'll be out on the beach. Maybe a lake. You could bring it on a boat. Maybe you're just chilling with the buddies. New Amsterdam is perfect for any occasion. Also, if you're going to a place, maybe your buddy invited you to his beach house or something, you can come with a few.
Come with a bottle, yeah.
Because
don't come empty-handed.
Don't come empty-handed. And they have a nice price. In an economy that everything's inflated, New Amsterdam's been
still affordable.
Still very affordable, and the bang for your buck for New Amsterdam is elite.
I've said it for years. Best bang for your buck in the biz. Been drinking it since college. Phenomenal.
There you go, New Amsterdam, and we'll be drinking New Amsterdam this weekend when we go to Florida. We're going to Florida for PFL. We got a good fight card this weekend. It is the light heavyweights and lightweights.
Really good fights.
Really good.
Yeah.
Which one are you most excited for?
Collard and Primus?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
That's going to be a war.
It's awesome.
Yeah. That's going to be a war. And Brent Primus was like the Clay Collard of Bellator. Like he was just like either he doesn't get killed, but he like almost dies if he loses.
One of the first Bellator card, I think actually the first Bellator card I ever went to was when he beat Chandler via leg deaden. He like hit the nerve, the O'Malley Cheeto.
And that's when they
pulled the stool from him.
From Chandler. And then Impa Kasagane against Josh. What?
I think it's a rematch. I'm pretty sure.
I think they fought for the belt, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Impa took it to him.
Rob Wilkinson fighting on the card.
And scroll up. Who's that Russian who's fighting? What's his name again?
Rabdinov
against Dufort. I mean, like Rabdinov's really, really good. Then
Nico Ali Walsh.
And then who's on our car? Our boy Danny Sabatello.
Yep. PFL debut, right?
Yep. And
Italian gangster.
And so this is a great card. It's stacked. I really like this guy. Scroll up a little bit. This guy right here, Thad Gene Silva. He's from Florida. I think he's of Haitian descent, and he's gonna have a lot of fans there. I think because the Challenger Series, from this past year, he was there and it was in Florida. He had a lot of fans too, and he's pretty good. I'm really excited for PFL. Should be an easy flight, hopefully, and then we'll get down there. It's a stacked card. There's a lot of fights, and Ev and I were in Nashville. It was a great fight night card. We saw Dakota.
The real deal.
And then obviously Goldsov, and then
shout out PFL.
Great fight that PFL just booked. Well, I don't know if they've confirmed it yet, but Magic, our journalist of the year, reported McKee
versus Paul Hughes
on the Ngannou card. He said, right? Yeah,
yes.
That they're gonna build that to like an awesome card for sure in October.
I hope they put Burgos on it.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Do you see he's moving?
Who?
Burgos.
Yeah.
Down south, I think.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Because he said goodbye because he trains at Schumann.
Yeah.
Not goodbye, more so like I'm moving. Maybe he has a bigger family now.
Yeah.
3 kids, probably more bang for your buck down there. Also got that PFL contract.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's living good.
Oh, Ev, pull your mic in. I'm looking at the comments and I see no mic for Ev. Ev's mic is off. Ev's mic just wasn't in front of him.
That's really funny.
Just shooting the shit.
See, that's how casual. It's like you're just dropping in on a casual conversation. We don't even know the cameras are mic.
I didn't notice.
At the beginning,
I was looking at Ev.
It was because at the beginning I was tweeting the link.
Yeah.
And then I just forgot to.
And you grabbed the.
and I grabbed the Amsterdam. That's right.
Even Lee tweeted us, Ev doesn't have a mic.
Oh,
Shit.
man.
Sorry, guys.
Man,
Sorry,
that's it.
guys.
Burgos leaving the 845 is tough.
That is
We'll
tough.
miss him.
Yeah.
I guess
think you'll still rep it.
I guess I've technically left as well. I live in Hoboken, but
You're close enough.
I'm here.
You
That's
go
why
back,
I'm
yeah.
like a New York, Jersey guy.
But yeah, I saw that from his IG recently. But I think his brother, who's
Yep.
been in
Ryan
Yeah.
Burgos.
and I think he's even fought recently. I think Ryan's staying up here.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He's like I think they see him as like a very
A good
very
prospect.
good prospect.
They're very high on him. Yeah.
Because he's someone that he's talking about too, talking to him personally. Like he just kind of just started MMA when he was like a kid.
Yeah.
Like basically because I think Shane's like maybe like 10 years older or close.
Yeah.
Like maybe like 7.
His brother's a little bit shorter
Mm-hmm.
and can probably fight at lower weight classes. But
I think he fights 135.
I think
maybe?
you're right.
that would
yeah.
be that.
I think bantamweight
pretty sure
he
you're
is.
right.
And Burgos even carries his weight well, but he's even talked to us about his weight cuts and whatnot
Yeah.
during the season because he went up when he went to.
I mean,
PFL.
yeah. I mean,
You
there's
have
no
to.
way he could do 145 that many times.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him. He's not a small guy.
And you remember he told us that weight cut. He said he didn't sleep. That was against what's his name, Charles Jourdain. He said he only
Oh,
slept
yeah.
for 2 hours before that because his weight cut was so bad. And I think that was the last time he ever fought at 145.
It was his last
Yeah.
fight in the UFC.
That's crazy.
That was a great fight. Long Island.
were
They got to
there.
go back to
We were there,
Belmont.
yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's been well over
I
a
think
year.
I'm gonna want
Right?
to try to go to the Tampa card in December. They announced it.
Nice.
I've never been to Tampa.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan. You could visit his shop.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, every WWE wrestler.
Strip club capital of the world.
Is
One
it
of the
really
best-
Tampa?
That's what they said.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know
best steakhouse in the world too. Not the world, America.
Wow. I didn't know that either. Tampa. It's-
So maybe I'll get
By the way,
some of my
someone-
fellas.
Vince in the chat said Hard Rock Guitar Casino also so fresh. Is that where the fights are? The Hard Rock?
I would assume so.
I've never been to the
You're
guitar,
saying
the guitar hotel.
For the
PFL.
yeah, probably. If it's in
Wow,
Hollywood.
that'll be
We're
cool.
staying in Fort Lauderdale. I believe it's in Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah. Which I've never been to.
Let me
so.
check right now.
I've been to Fort Lauderdale for spring break. It was incredible.
What do they say?
Let's see and there's still tickets available if you're looking to come. Yeah, it is Hard Rock. All right, cool. We'll be
Nice.
staying in, or we'll be watching the fights in a big guitar.
I'll be on the tables for
Yeah, no. When I
I'll definitely.
I legit when he confirmed it, I looked at Ev and I was just like, I know where Ev
I'll be on the
maybe they'll have a special ticket where Ev can come and go like in between fights.
In between fights, he could play
Yeah.
the hand.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely. I was playing Mohegan Sun.
That would be like a high roller room where the fights are happening, but you're also at a table. That would be crazy.
You
Something
saw-
out of a movie.
Do you see what Dana's plans? He was on McAfee talking about the spear. He said
No.
he's going to go through the first fight of the night is going to be like the beginning of Mexico. And then the last fight of the night is going to be the future of Mexico. Like not the
Are we gonna start with like the Stone Ages in the background and turn into like flying cars?
Is he going to Mexico? And I mean, this is just the history of every country, but Mexico has some like pretty crazy history. The Mayans and whatnot.
Yep.
Like there's like some pretty brutal wars in their history. Is he going to like the conquests and what?
Well, you know what I'm interested in? How loud will Joe Rogan get booed?
Yes. Yes. That'll be his first one back.
Yeah.
That'll be his first one
His
back.
first one back, and Trump has put the call out. Like, let's see how loud he's gonna get booed.
I wonder if
Dave, that was the first thing he said to me at Rough and Rowdy. He was like, man, Dana's in a tough spot right now. He was like, his two boys, Rogan and Trump.
But you know what it is? Dana will say what he always says, like, I don't give a shit what anyone
Yeah.
thinks about anything. Like they can think whatever they want, blah
Yep.
blah. Like that's exactly what he's gonna say.
I think Rogan, a la Trump, Rogan could shoot somebody dead in Fifth Ave. Dana would still have Rogan call
100%.
pay-per-view.
100%.
He could shoot somebody dead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's Joe Rogan.
It's
Come on.
Joe, he's been here since the start.
Isn't he awesome? I love that clip where he says that about Conor McGregor.
That's the greatest one.
Isn't he awesome?
When he's like, he told me he wants to fight Habib.
in Russia.
You saw what Bilal said about Habib?
No.
He said I mean, this is obviously he's in Habib's corner, but he was training with him. And he said a week before he got the call that he was going to face Leon, he said he was training with Habib and Habib was throwing him around like it was nothing. Now, that being said, Habib's like 200.
I was going to say he's huge.
He said, "quote He could win the belt at any weight class.
Yeah.
Habib versus John Jones.
Yeah, he's in any division he wants. He can
crazy.
just go and win the belt.
Connor and Michael.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough. This is tough
Mm.
because I go backstage at Rough and Rowdy, And Dan goes, hey, you know your boy's done, right? And Jerry goes, oh, yeah, he's never fighting again. He's not fighting by the end of the year, especially. And Dave goes, oh, yeah, definitely not. And I'm like, no, he is fighting in December. UFC 310, the foot's healed, the toe's okay. Michael Chandler says, I'm moving on if we don't fight by the end of the year. Connor says he wants it by the end of the year.
We want December.
We want December. We deserve December. I said, there is no reason to be worried unless he doesn't fight in December. I said, if he doesn't fight in December, I'll start to worry. It took like 48 hours for Dana to be like, he ain't fighting this year. He just said it so casually. Hey, he ain't fighting this year. What the fuck do you mean he ain't fighting this year? Even Connor went out. Like at first I was like, oh, I guess Connor doesn't want to fight. Like he's got motorcycle rallies and stuff to attend. I get that. But then Connor went out and he was like, Dana, what the hell? December's the date. I'm about to go into training camp. We want December. We deserve December. I texted you guys. I said, I want to break into the UFC headquarters, January 6th style. I'll wear the shaman hat. I'll put my feet up on Dana's desk like the guy on Pelosi's desk. We want December. What the fuck?
But I wonder how much of that is him saying, I mean, because he's definitely could say something to Dana and then tweet something totally different.
True.
Because he knows Dana's not going to Dana's not going to quote tweet Connor and be like, this is a lie. Like he's not going to do anything like that. He's just going to let it be.
Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't abuse the Dana White contact like this. But I would be lying if I said there wasn't part of me, just a little part of me, that wanted to just text him last night and be like, we want December. Just that. We want December.
I don't think he would have.
I don't think he would have liked that. So I didn't do it.
Okay.
But there was like a 1% of me wanted to just shoot him that text. We want December.
You're right. He did say it like he didn't even hesitate. It was almost before they even finished answering questions. He was like, he's not fighting this year.
Yeah, no.
Like no chance. 0% chance.
Yeah.
0.0.
That's bad to hear. It was a gut punch at the end of a good contender series.
Yeah, I'm glad I would say before we get the fight just quickly on the contender series.
Yeah.
Also said get like unequivocally Strickland getting the next title shot at 185. I thought that was a big just to like put that to bed, like leave all the because there was a lot of talk like, oh, what happened?
Strickland, stop saying he should take this fight, that fight. He's getting the title shot. Strickland is also in. He's in.
Yeah, I was actually
a predicament.
I keep seeing like the post, but have not watched any of the videos. What's happening?
So I watched Strickland's video last night. I believe it all started when he tweeted about this guy Tiki, who manages a bunch of fighters, including
Lee's
Aljo.
favorite fighter, manager.
Lee's guy.
Lee legit would fellatio.
I don't know how much we should say because Sean Strickland said that he heard that Tiki like groomed a 17-year-old and was with a 17-year-old, then heard through the grapevine that Tiki was suing him for defamation or slander, whatever. Then tweeted like, I'll crowdfund this lawsuit.
GoFundMe.
He's like, I'll do GoFundMe. The people will pay my legal expenses. And he allegedly contacted the father of this girl, who he's known for years, Sean Strickland. No, Sean.
Okay, Strickland.
Sean's known the father, and he said, hey, if you're comfortable with it, I'll go to court over this. If your daughter's comfortable with it as well. He said the daughter had a lot of trauma over it, but she's like married and has kids now. So she was like, yes, you have my support. So he was like, all right. He made a video last night and he kind of laid all this out in his video. And then he also said, I don't know if he's going to sue me, but like, I'm willing to go to court if he wants to sue me over this. And he's like, and I got to tell you, he's covering all of this up. He has this unbelievable cover up. He's like, I look up his name and there's no articles about this yet. Nobody's written an article about how he's grooming people. And like in my head, I'm like, well, yeah, because they also don't want to get sued. Like you're like literally about to get sued by this guy. But I think Sean thinks that Tiki is in all of the media's pockets and covering this up.
I guess what I'm confused about is, so where did it start in the sense of like, he just like heard this guy, he literally just heard the manager, just like
overheard a rumor and tweeted it. And he keeps saying in the interview, I don't know why he could sue me because I didn't even say it was true. I just said he was a groomer and that's what I heard. That's like, well, yeah, that's how a lawsuit starts.
Strickland's wild.
What a wild boy. He's so impulsive.
Too.
Yeah, he just doesn't. he's like 99% of the way there of like understanding the lawsuit, but he just can't get over the hump of like, well, yeah, like what you're saying right now as to why you're saying you shouldn't be able to get sued is actually why you're getting sued. He's like, I don't understand why he's suing me. I just said he was fucking 17-year-olds on Twitter. It's like, well, yeah, that's why he's suing you, dude.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's a crazy situation. We don't know anything. Allegedly, over everything we said, don't sue us. This is just what Sean Strickland has gone very, very public with over the last week.
Wild. I guess I should have clicked on these videos.
Wild stuff.
I just kept catching while I was busy and just seeing him in like selfie video mode and just seeing a bunch of them. It was like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're seeing a lot of tiki out there. I was seeing the word tiki out there.
Tiki thrown out a lot. And also, when I initially saw that, I forgot who Tiki was, and I thought he was the monster guy that people have complained about. The monster sponsorship guy.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Tiki.
That Dom Cruz had an issue with, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a Tiki Barber.
Yeah.
So that's when I think Tiki, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
No,
legend.
Yeah, the crazy situation. Defamation, it does work that way though. You can't just be like allegedly doesn't really.
Yeah.
Unless you have.
He like publicly tweeted like, I heard this guy's a groomer, and it's like, well, yeah, you're the only person that's ever said that online. So now.
Yeah, and if you have no news articles backing you up, because I've learned this from our like lawyers here that have been like, be careful with this, that, the other. If there's like a news article legit backing it up, then we can point to that, and they usually just like there's nothing. But if he
is the news article,
if you are it, you really like you better make sure it's true.
Which I guess what works in his favor is the girl that he is alleging this happened to is on his side.
Yeah.
Then she'll be able to provide the evidence that they need.
But then he would still, if Tiki has the money, he could just fuck you with a lawsuit and you have to pay. Like there's no like if you win this, you get paid money. I don't think. Now maybe it is a situation where like the judge would say, hey,
oh, wait a minute, are we still alive? Let me just make sure we're still alive. StreamYard says something went wrong. It'd be bad if we were doing a show to no.
I can see it on the screen over there. It looks like it's still going.
Looks like we're still going.
The chat was just moving.
Okay, good.
I feel like Lee would have texted us.
He probably would have. Yeah. Okay, good.
All things considered, all things being said, yeah, be careful with defamation. Usually just have like an article backing you up. Yeah, no, it really depends on what state too. Every state is different.
We got a Lee text. Is he confirming we're still live?
Good.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
That would be funny if we were talking to nobody.
Kind of like if you were on a talk show and didn't have a microphone in front of you.
Yeah.
Me and Clem once did a movie commentary for like a 2-hour-long movie, and we didn't realize that it stopped recording like 15 minutes in.
Oh.
And then we had to go back and just do the exact same podcast over again. That's
brutal.
It's brutal. You said hopefully it's a quick flight. The flight to Rough and Rowdy, we had to fly to Pittsburgh and then drive to West Virginia. I thought it was going to be like an easy, smooth flight, get to the airport, get on the plane real quick. I fall asleep before we even take off. I wake up 2 hours later. I'm like, beautiful. We're in Pittsburgh. I look out the window, black and yellow signs. I'm like, Steel City. Take off my seatbelt. And the flight attendant goes, can you put your seatbelt back on so we could take off? We were still in Newark. Hadn't taken off yet after 2 hours. And I was so disoriented by that sentence. I had to zoom out on my Maps app in my phone to make sure she wasn't fucking with me. I was like, no way. This plane's got to be in on a prank, but no.
I did that. I can't remember. It must have been either last year or before on the way back from Iowa once.
Oh yeah.
Because
those quick
I had like a super early flight. And then we, woke up, was exhausted. I think it was one of those where I think we recorded a podcast after it was up super late. Had we stopped recording at 2, 3 a.m. Had a flight at then I go to the airport at 5, 6 a.m.
Yep.
And then was asleep on the plane and just woke up and we just were on the tarmac still. And
the worst feeling ever.
2 hours. I would have slept I would have been home.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then and the worst part, then the flight just we just had to deboard the flight, got canceled. Had to fly to Chicago. Wait 4 hours and then fly to New York. Was fucking brutal.
That was bad. I didn't get my bag when I landed, and they were just going to let me wait at baggage till eventually, it was an hour later, I asked, and they were like, oh, it's in D.C. I was like, what the fuck? Why'd you send it to D.C.?
You see me standing here this whole time?
Yeah, I was standing across from the situation. Someone mentioned in the chat this is like, we're talking about bad things now before we get into the fights, but they said, what do you think of the Alex Pereira situation?
Well, that seems almost like it's over.
It does sort of seem like it's over because now there's refuting accounts and reports, and her friend is saying maybe she wasn't being completely truthful about what happened, but
it's really tough for us to even judge, especially when there's no police involved.
Very tough.
We'll see if more comes out, but right now, I mean, it's an accusation. That's
a horrible accusation that we have no idea what the validity of is.
Yeah, and our friend went on, I think, like Instagram Live, and then said, but yeah, crazy stuff. That was like, that feels
it was a weird weekend. MMA Twitter.
Yeah, a weird news story too. But I feel at this point, if there was something truly serious, the likelihood of something really happening would have already happened. Like the UFC would have said something. Whatnot.
You would hope. Yeah.
Now maybe she goes to the authorities, and we go from there.
Yeah, and then people are like, "All right, we're going this far. Bring up the Colby catching a child predator."
Well, that's the weirdest new content.
The trend, in the world. Of let's bring a celebrity to catch a child predator.
Vitaly, you remember Vitaly from back in the day, YouTuber?
Yes,
that's him.
Well, I saw,
but there's a bunch of people that have done it.
But then there's one that does it really like seriously. Who's this like I save kids or something? He does it really seriously. He's been doing it for a while. Vitaly just like
he makes like a circus. I saw he did Akon Locked Up.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, that one was what I haven't laughed harder.
Ridiculous, but yeah,
and I really don't really like those videos, but I saw just the Akon one, and that was him getting put in cuffs and just Akon like coming out of
that was funny.
Thin air and singing "Locked Up" because "Locked Up" is one of my like favorite songs ever. So that made me laugh so fucking hard.
Those pedophiles. If you walk into this mansion and there's steak logos everywhere, like how do you how in that
are those videos sponsored?
Yeah, there's if you've not noticed, you know how UFC is sponsored by steak?
Yeah.
They have steak logos everywhere in those videos.
That's weird. The videos make me like the Akon one was funny, but a lot of them make me just feel really
They said Colby was going to 50.
I hate him. That was the one. That one just made me laugh.
Just like everything around like that just makes it feel gross.
Colby Covington and Little Pump, right?
Yeah, like that Aiden Ross and that, like it's just
the game.
It's just weird where they
someone.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of a weird like
it's a weird
thing to just like jump on. It's always just weird to me when they do them and then it's just you just kind of call the police and they're kind of like, okay, thanks. Like, we can't really do anything about it unless you're like very thorough and like what you like kind of how you go about it.
It's weird. It's very strange. But I mean, credit to them for trying, I guess.
Did you guys watch Contender Series?
I saw most of the highlights. I saw the first fight, and then I saw most of the highlights. The first knockout was
insane. That knockout was. I mean, I think that Kavanaugh kid might just be like really good. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Like he hit him so hard and so fast. You didn't even like know what he hit him with.
Yeah.
And also the camera angle didn't help. It was so fast. Like you thought it was the second one, but when you watch it, you realize no, the first one was just so fast.
Yeah. And then he didn't wake up for a while.
He was, I was going to say, like, legitimately, like 2 minutes. He was unconscious.
Yeah, he's
crazy.
That was definitely a performance of the night. The other fights were pretty good.
I was talking to Lee about too. The second one, Delgado kid was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought there was a moment there, like literally right before he need him, that I thought the other guy was a Stockton guy, like trains at the at Diaz. And he had a little bit of that feel to him. I thought early, I was like, is he about to do the like Diaz thing here?
Yeah.
And then like right as I was starting to think that, he got knocked out silly, but that kid was pretty good too.
4 contracts. Am I right about that?
Yeah. And even the one Lopez who he got knocked out by Ribeiro last season on. I don't think the guy he fought, I don't think was very good. I don't think he's that. I think he's gonna go get mauled by somebody at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Depending who, obviously, but I don't know. I didn't see it. The last kid I thought has a lot of potential. The like Abdur Malik or what? He definitely and he trains with like Strickland and Chris Curtis and all those guys.
Ground and finish or the submission?
Ground and pound finish. Because I thought the guy he fought was actually like not bad, and I thought it was like pretty tough.
Yeah.
And that kid definitely could have like potential. He was on like 26. He definitely is like big and strong and hits hard and all that. Can wrestle.
You guys want to get into UFC 305?
Fuck yeah.
All right, let's tell everyone about DraftKings. Oh, I like this ad read. They said, throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
Yep.
Get in on the UFC 305 action.
We've been hitting them on Pick Central all week.
I like that. Live from the land down under. They're really throwing them in there.
No, wait, we got another big
at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. I see it out of the corner of my eye. It's crazy. The middleweight title's on the line for the main event, but the card is stacked full of rip snorter blokes and Sheilas.
Yep.
That
rip snorters.
Rip snorters. And speaking of stacked, if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. I didn't know where they were going. And speaking of stacked, I didn't know where that was going. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BACKFIST. That's code BACKFIST for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. UFC 305. It's going to be a ripper of a good time.
A ripper.
A ripper.
Ripper.
Yeah, we can't wait for this card.
Only
This
on
will be fun.
DraftKings. Yeah.
Only on DraftKings.
Crown is yours.
What's the first? How'd they start it? Throw some shrimp on the Barbie.
Throw some shrimp on the Barbie. And they also said rip snorter. What is a rip snorter bloke? Is that like just a tough guy?
I think so.
You're a
Bloke.
real
I think.
rip snorter.
A bloke is
Bloke's just a
a
dude.
bro.
And then a Sheila. Let's look that one up.
Maybe Sheila's.
A girl, like the girl version of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, a girl or young woman in Australia or New Zealand.
Okay.
So it's just the girl version of bloke. But great card this weekend. We've been seeing some of the like festivities all week. There was the video of Adesanya doing the
And then
dance
Drickus in the background
and
just
staring
looking
him
at
down. Yeah, I had to watch the video twice to even like see him
me
in the
too.
background. I was like, where is he?
I think whoever tweeted that, I forgot who it was. I think they were kind of overblowing it a little
They said
bit.
he was staring him down. I think he was just watching.
I think it was just like, oh, like I had
See
to
what
come here
this is
for
all
media
about, whatever,
obligation.
yeah.
He was like, okay, whatever.
The card kicks off with Stuart Nickel versus Jesus Aguilar. Nickel is minus 225 in this fight. Jesus plus 185. Have we seen Stuart Nickel before?
No.
Yeah, he's like a big.
I don't
He's
recognize the
Australian kid. Like they're really high on him. Big prospect, getting a shot. This line's went up quite a bit. He opened a much smaller favorite.
For him, yeah.
A lot of the like sharp. How much when you want to take that into like the sharp big bettors have bet him heavy at the early lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Aguilar obviously
He had that crazy Shannon Ross
Shannon
knockout.
Ross. I'm not sure he's
Oh, man.
he's
It was his first knockout ever.
and then he fought Mendonca
That's right.
and there was a split. It was a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
And then
He can wrestle. He can wrestle a little bit.
that was like I don't hate maybe a shot on him. I have to watch and look up more about Stuart Nickel.
That's what I was going to say. The same. I think it's probably like a no play because if I'm not going to pretend like I don't know what Nickel really looks like.
I do.
Yeah.
You are right. He's undefeated.
Like I just know he's like a very highly touted
4
prospect.
knockouts. Yeah.
Yeah, I just know he's a super highly touted prospect from Australia.
And
I've seen a lot on Twitter and some people talking about
that
it.
was Ursag back in the day.
Yeah.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Came out of
So
nowhere.
like it's not like they he's
That's why I probably like even at this price for on Aguilar, I still would probably
beat down promotions.
You got to come up with a better name than that if you're beat down promotions.
Beat down's crazy.
Promotion.
Beat down sounds like rough and rowdy. It sounds too like, not serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's won was this for the belt? No. But he's 7-0. 4 KOs, 3 submissions.
Finisher.
So we'll see. I mean, he's a small guy though.
Then we've got Song Kanong versus Ricky Glenn. Song Kanong minus 175, Glenn plus 145. I feel like this is a fight where I like Kanong, but
I don't love laying juice on Kanong, but I mean Ricky Glenn, it's just
That's how I feel. Like I don't like 175 with Kanong, you just feel like nervous, but Glenn is moving up in weight.
That might be the
not
cusp of what I would bet on Kanong. Like if he goes to like 185, might be like, I can't lay that. 75 might think about it.
Like maybe if you're just like I said, I don't even know Nickel, but based on like maybe if I do some more research, just watch a few and like maybe a little Nickel little chalk parlay to start the card the first two.
I mean, like
I don't because I just like I think like Kanong Song like should win and is better and he's bigger. Like I just, but he's older. Like I don't
Last time Ricky Glenn won was 2021. Since then, he's been knocked out in the first round twice.
Yeah, like Dober, like his last 2 fights, got knocked out by Dober and Cristo Giagos.
And
like Dober obviously is like whatever. Like
Song Dober's hard though.
That's why I like. It's hard for me to get behind Ricky Glenn here. Like I'm trying to like even get to where like I'm trying to in my head like envision a scenario like how does Ricky Glenn win this fight? And when I do it, I have a really hard time.
And it's not like if Ricky Glenn was this Aussie like legend or whatnot, it would be different. But I mean, Kenan Song, I don't actually know where he trains out of, but like Kenan Song's journey may have been like easier because because I mean China's closer than America to Australia.
He doesn't have like a gym listed on his topology.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, I would say I'm picking Song to win.
The next fight I don't understand. This is a weird one. Tom Nolan versus Alex Reyes. Tom Nolan minus 1,200.
Just like it's.
Why did they book this fight?
Yeah, give the Aussie a knockout on the.
Just seems like you could have given him a slightly better opponent.
I agree with you. Yeah, but this is the class. This is you do 2 birds with 1 stone here. You get Nolan a knockout. You get Reyes knocked out and you get him out of the UFC.
Yeah,
because he's probably not a guy. This is Nolan. This is an absolute squash fest.
Like, what do you even say about him?
This is total squash. Like,
yeah.
Like when you look up squash fest in the dictionary, it's like this matchup, this fight, on like this type of card.
And Nolan came in with a lot of the hype and then lost.
Yeah.
To
Moda, right?
Yeah. But he got caught in a
like early, like really early.
And then he came back and looked. He knocked out Victor Martinez like right away. I think he has a decent his build's crazy. Like his arms are long as fuck.
Do you remember he was on the Contender Series last year? Tom Nolan, I'm saying, and he had he landed like a big knockdown.
Oh, and then he hit him on the ground.
Had a ground and pound shot that was one of the most like lethal, vicious ground. Like I thought he killed him.
Yeah,
like literally punched his head through the mat.
Yeah,
crazy.
Do you think the next fight is almost the exact same scenario run back, the Jack Jenkins, Herbert Burns, where Herbert Burns is plus 550, Jenkins is minus 800.
Herbert
Burns hasn't won since 2020.
I just can't believe he still is getting
2020. Fights. This has to be his last one,
like
right?
it's out of
I don't get it.
Out of principle. Like Jack Jenkins, I think is like okay. Out of principle, laying 800 with like obviously would never money, but even like a parlay, anything like that, no
disrespect. Herbert Burns has the luckiest knockout I think in the history of the UFC.
It is insane that he knocked out Nate Landwehr.
It is.
How did that happen?
I don't know. And it
was a one-hitter quitter.
He just right up the middle.
What year was
walked
that?
Into
2020.
It.
Yeah. Dude, he fought 3 times in 2020 and he's fought like twice since.
Remember the Long Island was sad. He was carried out with
oh man.
It was sad.
Yeah, that was last fight. He got knocked out by
this may be a little bit of a nepotism. Gilbert's keeping him around.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because Gilbert's been like one of the greatest. Like
him and Muhammad Usman have gotten a free ticket.
Muhammad Usman.
He did win. He won the Ultimate Fighter.
Muhammad Usman,
and he has won some fights. Like, or he's at least
he's not. I shouldn't have said that because he's not as bad as Herbert.
And there's not as many there's not a lot of heavyweights out there.
For sure. True. I take that back. I take it back.
Shout out Muhammad. I still like Mo Usman a little bit.
I don't like him, but yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because it's just like he's the peak, like your brain before you really got into MMA thinking a football player would be sick at MMA because he's like so huge. And then like he goes in there and just like a fat Brit who just knows how to box.
You see the rugby player trying to take down Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, that looks
a cool clip.
And he kind of looks like John Jones.
People were saying John Jones watching this.
Yeah. MMA Gurus had some unbelievable tweets recently
about Jones,
just about everybody. He's been out of control.
I had to explain him to my girlfriend recently. I forget her fiance. I keep getting that wrong. I forget why the MMA Guru came up while we were watching fighting, but he did, and I was like, "Yeah, he's this guy and makes crazy videos." He said John Jones is gay. She was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's the whole thing." Explain the Moicano thing. It was
He's out of it. He's legitimately out of his mind.
Yeah,
he says his tweet where he was like inspiring Americans to like they were like, men, start your sons early in the start your sons early in MMA gyms so they can beat the Dagestani whatever.
Also, his bonus system apparently still.
Yeah, is he gonna do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
MMA guru, he's the GOAT.
Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. Speaking of the goats,
by the way, I think we're gonna do a parlay. Jack Jenkins is gonna be in it.
Yeah,
we
we could
could
might
throw
as
him
well.
in there. Yeah,
Jack Jenkins. Oh,
he had the fight. He broke his arm.
Oh, against Chepe. Fuck Chepe. He's a cheater. Coming in 5 pounds overweight, and then he was like, I almost didn't fight, but I had that dog in me. Like, fuck you. You're a different weight class.
Luana Santos minus 155, Casey O'Neill plus 130. Would you take a shot on Casey O'Neill in a fight like this close?
I'm like, I don't know how crazy I am about Casey O'Neill.
I'm not crazy about her.
Kind of like I don't know. I kind of like Luana.
That's what I do too. It's like I don't know if I like her enough to actually like.
MMA woman favorites this year are hitting at a 72% clip.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That's talk me into betting Luana.
So water's gotta find its level. That was my Johnny the Greek impression.
Yanni.
Sorry.
Yanni.
I saw him at UFCX from he was like way far away from.
Yeah, I saw him do a video. Shit. You know what's funny? He's actually I have it on good sources. He's a fairly successful professional gambler. Like he actually makes money.
Wow.
I think he just was put in the UFC. He doesn't really know a lot.
Do you think he makes money on things other than the UFC?
Yeah. He doesn't. No. He doesn't. I have it on pretty good authority that just like he would get some of his plays from like even other people.
I believe that.
And he wasn't.
I mean, if he just talks markets.
Yeah, that's all. He
just like, oh, like this. I'm like the lines move. This. Like it's a lot of action. I'll take
guys who are 33 versus guys who are 25 or this. And over the over this year, they're this. So I'm gonna take water finds its level.
Guys with like 7-inch greater wingspans win it. Like he just says stuff like that.
Which it was his purpose, and then he became a meme.
Dana loved him too. I remember Dana.
But then they replaced him with no disrespect.
Minty.
He did do Contender Series yesterday.
Oh, he was?
Oh, yeah. Yanni was on Contender Series yesterday.
Oh, shout out the GOAT.
Dana loves him. Backstage once, he was like, "Have you met?" Like, not to me, he said to someone. He was like, "Have you met Yanni? Isn't he awesome?" He gave him the Connor. Like, isn't he awesome? Isn't he great? And I was watching it, and I was just like, "Oh, I know how people talk about Yanni. That's funny."
That's funny that he loves him that
much. And then Dana loves him.
Because I heard that he kind of got screwed. Maybe it was ESPN who screwed him over more than the UFC.
Maybe.
Because I think he felt like he was a little bit screwed over when he wasn't like on as much as he used to be.
Yeah.
But if he's still the Contender Series GOAT, like that's.
Yeah, no, he was giving picks.
Ricardo Ramos versus Josh Kulabau. Kulabau minus 142. Ricardo Ramos plus 120.
I love this fight.
This is a good fight.
This should be a really
good matchup.
This should be a really fun fight. I kind of like Ramos, but I'm not like in love with Ramos.
I kind of do too, like betting wise. That like I feel like I would want to bet on Ramos, but I like Kulabau. I
like watching Kulabau fight. And I feel like he's kind of been on a nice run here.
Kulabau now.
Did he? Who did he just?
He
lost.
In a row.
You know,
Danny Silva split.
Yep.
You know what fight I keep when I always just think of him that fight with Choi.
Troy was great, and then
he dropped him a few times.
Remember that rear naked choke he pulled on Bulgarian or Miliska, the Romanian fighter?
Yeah. Who did he? You said Silva. Who else did he just lose to?
Lerone Murphy.
Oh, that's okay. That's right.
And
tough fight. Really, really tough fight though. Yeah, I do. I
still kind of like Ricardo. Like. This does feel like the kind of fight he can like edge out and probably get a decision on.
Tapped out by what's his name?
Kulabau always just like disappoints me. He just like he has these great moments. Like even when he like his last 3 fights, it was on the Makhachev Volkanovski UFC 284. Bagdasarian, he was losing that first round, and then he found the choke in the second. Lerone Murphy and Danny Silva is kind of just And then, so I mean, yeah, I'm kind of looking at Ramos, but Ramos is also on a 2-fight losing streak.
He lost to Jordan,
and then Juicy J.
That's right. That's right.
So I mean,
This might be one that I bet like an under when it comes out, depending on the price.
Yeah, I mean, Kulabau goes for it. He kind of has a pretty good chin, but he gets into some firefights. But Ramos his last 2 fights in the first round.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, and this is Ramos has to travel all the way from Brazil, which I mean I guess isn't that far. No, I think it's still pretty far.
Yeah, pretty far, I think. Junior Tafa versus Valter Walker. We've only seen Walker once before in the UFC. He's 0-1.
Yep.
That was against Brzezicki.
Yeah. And that was a weird decision.
Weird decision.
Also, his last win.
Also, I think Brzezicki's like not good
because he took him down like a bunch, but he didn't really do a lot of damage. And then Brzezicki had like moments in each round where it's just like, oh, he kind of.
His last win before that on Tapology, before he got signed to the UFC, was over Alex Nicholson in Titan FC. And it was win in round 4 via retirement.
Retirement, I think, means on Tapology. Oh, no. What's retirement mean?
I don't think it means retirement.
No. I always thought it meant just like on the stool.
Is that? But it's 40 seconds into the round.
Really?
Wouldn't it say doctor stoppage if it was a cut or something?
Wait, maybe
50 seconds into round 4 retirement.
Have to be like
wait, look up Nick Diaz's on Tapology and see if it was a retirement against Robbie Lawler. Remember how he was just on the ground? He was like no more.
Like no, yeah. I feel like they would still call that a TKO.
I've heard retirement said, but yeah, retirement.
Okay, retirement must mean
so you basically
just mid round
like,
you tap.
You would like instead of but if you tap or verbally tap to strikes, it says
right like technical submission
to strikes.
Yes,
because Gamrot or somebody beat somebody recently. I think it was Gamrot. Somebody was like because I remember it was a big thing on Twitter. A lot of people had KO. I think Gamrot by KO is probably 10-1, and then the submission was probably like 2-1. And somebody,
I don't think it was Gamrot. I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I would if I had money involved in it, I definitely would know it. I remember like the situation that
Diego Ferreira submission to strikes.
Oh, there you go. I know it was controversial when
21.
Oh, but no, but that was I think he hurt like his rib, right?
Yeah, but that was technically it was.
Oh, gotcha. I see.
But it was 2 strikes.
Okay, I remember that's right.
I remember it was controversial.
He was behind him. He was behind him, and he kind of just like stopped. He just like held it.
When Rose beat Joanna for the first time, people were saying it should have gone down as a submission.
She did like, yeah, that's true.
But this fight, I mean, I think Tafa will win, but I just know more about Tafa and have more faith in him. I don't really
Walker.
Like I wouldn't bet on this.
It's like it's just can he wrestle? Can he wrestle and just avoid getting knocked out essentially?
I think he can.
You want to know what I watched recently actually, or it was literally like the other day. Because UFC put like a highlight reel of their like walk-off KOs.
Don't say it.
No, I wasn't gonna say that one.
Okay.
I was gonna bring it. It was Tafa getting knocked out by a Jorgen de Castro.
Oh, Jorgen
one of the
Castro,
gnarlier knockouts. Actually, you'll see he just came in so hot, and Jorgen just like an overhand right, square his chin. They literally show the camera he was knocked out cold, and his mouth was literally looked like mine like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
like his mouth is so like his jaw's like
remember
locked.
that.
You know why
because it was in Australia. I think it was in Australia.
And Jorgen trained with John a lot. You remember his Avengers?
Yes.
That's right.
And they would show that, but I thought he was going to bring up because you know who's tough.
I know what you thought I was.
Tough is
Porter Porker.
Yeah,
I did predict that fight.
He's been.
You did
both times.
You did.
But also there's
brothers own.
There's also only like 2 fights, like 2 ways that fight can go.
Yeah,
I picked just one of the 2, and it went the one way.
The Leech up next. Li Jingliang takes on Carlos Prates. Big abs guy.
Main card.
Here we are. The Leech plus 285, Prates minus 360. Those odds are as they should be. I mean,
he hasn't fought in a while.
Yeah, since not he fought after Long Island, right?
I think it was his last fight that
didn't he like
the one against Daniel Rodriguez that I thought that Rodriguez should have won. Or no, excuse me, that he should have won, and they gave it to Rodriguez. I've always been a Leach guy too, but I like Pratt is, I think just his length and his striking ability and his power is just going to be a lot for him. I'm really more like interested in seeing like how he would hold up against a grappler, but I just don't think the Leach is going to do that. Obviously,
No.
I'd be shocked. I mean,
Yeah. Fight doesn't go the distance here. I wonder what it'll be.
yeah, that it's the only one in the main card that doesn't have the
props
yet.
I mean, I want to get to the Leach, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there.
Prates also has a little.
I don't think you could bet him against Prates.
I just think he's going to be too like just long, tall. Like I think I think he gets him out of there. I think he knocks him out. Maybe like a round two on Prates.
Then Tai Tuivasa versus Jarizo Rosenstrike. Tai is plus 180, Rosenstrike minus 218. I think it's just principle that I don't really care how many fights he loses. If I can get Tai Tuivasa as an underdog in Australia, I think I'm going to bet on him.
I want to say one thing. I did a little this is my like my algorithm. Bam Bam got a haircut. He's back to like his, as like Jerry would say, like his bully haircut.
Yep.
I kind of
like back on his
the long hair's gone.
No, he's back on his like the haircut he had when he was like knocking out Derek Lewis and everybody else on the way.
That's big.
I also think he might feel like he's in the spot here where I don't think this is the case, but like, is he like getting cut territory? I don't think that's the case at all.
No.
I almost don't think he ever will.
He needs a win.
But my granted point is that
Derek Lewis was in that really spot not too long ago. It's
really
a little different, but like Derek Lewis lost a couple in a row, and it's like you're not going to get cut, but like, dude, you need a win for people to still care about you.
Even with that being said, I'm very concerned.
It's definitely a tough fight.
What are you looking at me very focused?
I think Tai, like,
you think he's got a shot?
He finds one.
I hope so, man. I really do too.
Dude, imagine he finds one. The crowd would explode if he got a knockout.
Dude, a shoey.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just like
I want it. It's like I'm scared. You want to know what it is? I'm scared.
Yeah.
Every fight I've convinced myself like he's gonna find one this time. He's been plus money like all these fights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's gonna find one this time. And then I'm like, oh man, like I don't know. Because can he lure Rosenstrike into like a little more of a brawl?
I also think Rosenstrike is not a guy who's gonna like immediately get him out of there. So Tai may have some time. Like, let's not forget, Tai had gone on the ropes in round 2, or was it 3?
I believe 2. I think 2. Maybe.
But he's still like, even after like a round or 2, he still has power. And Rosenstrike's somebody who's kind of like gone, where it's like, yeah, they have finishing power, but they kind of just like, he's a kickboxer. And Tuivasa, like, that gives him a little bit more time, win equity, like whatnot, where he fights some guys where it's like either you have to kill them, or they're going to take you down and choke you out, or they're going to knock you out immediately. Now, who knows? Tuivasa may just immediately make him fight and then he dies. But if he dies, he dies. Like, I think plus 180 is decent price here. Because what is really the difference between Rosenstrike and Tuivasa?
I would say
Rosenstrike's.
I would just say Rosenstrike's a little more like technical.
100%.
Yeah. But I agree with your point where it's like Rosenstrike has like a little bit of like a poor man's Gane in him, where like he was able to lure Gane into the firefight early and like had him hurt really, really bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the best I've ever seen Tai look. Tai did exactly that. That was one of those I bet Tai plus like 400 or 500 or something, and I was like proud of him after that fight. I was like, you made that fight the exact only way that you could win it, and you made it that way.
He was really
like you turned what should have been like a 80-20 fight into like a 50-50.
Yeah, no, he was
there for like 10-15 minutes. But yeah, I was scared. I think you just talked me into Tuivasa. I was afraid.
Lee likes Rosenstrike via decision plus 750.
That's decent.
I don't like hate that. But
you could theoretically like do both.
Just decision.
The only thing with Tai is though, I just feel like Tai will go out on his sword.
Yeah.
I just feel like even if it gets the third round and he's getting like pointed to death, like he's gonna go in there and just say like fuck it.
Then we've got Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. Gamrot's minus 340. Dan Hooker plus 270. Am I an idiot for trying to talk myself into Dan Hooker here?
I have been all week. I think I'm like close because
just if you want to take him, I think just take him by KO. I think he can take KO.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Gamrot, he's been dropped in
Every
literally
fight.
like every single fight he's been in the UFC. Basically, he's been knocked out.
And Hooker, like maybe he finds one here. And
then no, you want to know who Steve Erceg said on the Embedded, and I literally in my head I had this like little like this moment of like, oh my god, like I want to clip this if it happens. He was like Dan Hooker knee like right up the middle on a takedown.
Okay,
just like through his jaw.
I saw that clip. Yeah.
Oh, that he like Erceg just put that in the universe, and it was like a rainbow just came out. I was like, oh my God, that would be like it just in fucking Australia. That
tatted
would be
up Dan Hooker now.
Oh, dude, just puts that tatted knee right through his fucking face.
He's got like
my God,
tattoos look like I don't say
dude,
prison tattoos.
No,
they're well done.
They're
just
they're
insane.
sick. They're crazy.
Yeah. Just
thinking about where Dan Hooker was like a year or two ago after the amazing run he was on. Then the Chandler into like some of the bad losses. Like imagine if he knocked out Gamrot here.
That'd be awesome.
Like that, I just fucking love Dan Hooker. So I want to see it so badly.
Gamrot wins here. What do you do with Gamrot after this? Like Sarukian's waiting for Islam, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then he gets the winner of that.
I don't even know if he does. To be honest.
I think
he's kind of boring. Like
that's because every fight he's in, he's so besides the Sarukian fight, they just had an insane grappling match, and he won a split. Like I said, he gets knocked down. He's just always underwhelming. He just always he gets the decision in a fight where it's like the whole crowd was rooting for the other guy.
Yeah.
Wants to like I remember I was there. It was the John Jones cut for when he fought Jalen Turner.
Yeah.
And Turner he just was like. I remember Gamrot was minus 200 or 220. I bet him, and I was like, "Oh, that was
no."
Good how great of a bet that was in hindsight.
And also, he's just like, he's kind of boring too, like in terms of a personality.
And Dariush dropped him bad, beat him.
Dariush dominated him.
It's smoked him. I mean, I just think there's some people that just really, really love Gamrot, and it's one of those weird things where on a given night in the right matchups,
I think
he could beat almost anybody. But I also just think there's
an idea out there that like Gamrot could and I think Magic even believes it beat Islam.
Because if they just get no pure grappling match, he could do that with anybody.
I just think Islam's striking
100%.
But it would be an interesting fight. But that's a true MMA fans fight, and for Dana White, UFC, even this was something I wanted to talk about. I wish we talked about it off the top. I forgot to. What's his name said the guy this past week he lost to Denise. Carl Williams, he said his friend, this was like a friend of a friend.
Oh, yes.
So it's not good. But he said that Carl Williams was told before, we don't want you to be a decision grappling fighter anymore, which goes to the Makayev, whatnot.
Yep.
It seems as if, do you think behind closed doors, the UFC is kind of listening to a lot of what people are saying and thinking our sport's gone away where there's one really not easy way, but a dominating way to win. We need to almost shift away from it a little bit. And we've even had some Bilal, even though he disproved it, he was always kind of seen as a boring decision fighter. The UFC, are they kind of sitting there thinking behind closed doors, hey, we need to maybe figure this out a little bit? Because
maybe.
Now that being said, the UFC is as popular as ever, but the long-term health, not to lean in too much to the fans that are a little bit too negative for me, negative Nancy's, but there are some times where it's there's a lot of decisions and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just what the people want to see. You just see guys that lose exciting fights, they stay around.
Yep.
And you can win wrestling matches and you're out of there.
Yeah.
But I think it just puts asses in seats. And I do think you will gain more fans losing exciting fights than winning boring fights. And Drew Dober wins a lot of them too. You got to basically, if you're in the UFC, you got to basically win. If you're exciting, you still got to win almost as many of them as you lose.
You should beat the cans that you.
That's you go knock out the cans and you get in a war and lose to
Frivola will be around for as long as he wants to be. At least I hope so for his sake.
Sure.
But he's somebody that's Frivola, I mean, he's good. We know that, but it's not like he's a top 5 fighter. But people in New York, people go crazy for him.
Think about when Burgos signed with the PFL, the way Dana talked about it.
Yeah.
Dana doesn't talk about that about almost anyone. and especially someone who left, even though he said Burgos handled it like very, like called him, was like very respectful, and realized like it was such a like crazy difference in money. Like, how could you blame him?
Yeah.
But he was like, that's a guy like we fucked up letting that guy go, and we know. No disrespect to him, like it was highly unlikely he was ever gonna like even get to like a title shot or anything.
Yeah.
He was like a back half, a top 15 guy, but every fight he was in was incredible.
Yeah.
And those guys just like don't grow on trees. So I think like you just see the way they feel about it.
But that pressure that we heard on Carl Williams, and then obviously the Mikhaev situation, I think there's more with Mikhaev than we like even know.
100%.
Yeah.
But like I was just thinking, maybe the UFC behind closed doors almost like we have to put some pressure on these guys. But I mean, maybe I'm just like, maybe that pressure's always been there and we're just hearing about it more because the Mikhaev situation.
His was unique just because he got saw in the rankings. Like a Carl Williams type, you get it because you're like, if this guy fights like big, like top 10 guys, you don't think it's going to go as well for him.
Yeah.
Mikhaev, it was a little different because he had like worked himself like pretty high up in the rankings.
And then like for the UFC, if Carl Williams beats a top 10 guy and pushes him out, it's like, why are we wasting like sometimes those heavyweight guys, big contracts on a non-top 15 fight for him? That's like to get him back in it after he loses a grappling fest to Carl Williams.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think there was also like that Carl Williams fight. He couldn't even really get the grappling going at all.
No,
so like Denise was a like we have to give credit. I thought he looked really good, Denise.
You know, he did. He defended takedowns way better than I thought he would, for sure.
Anyways, that was a weird diatribe that we just went on, but it was a Hooker by KO. I don't hate.
Yeah,
it's like you said, he's been knocked down, but Gamrot has this crazy ability to recover.
What is he by knockout?
He does.
I bet it plus 325.
Okay, plus 800.
Oh, he's saying Hooker. Oh, he was saying money line.
Oh, by knockout. I'm saying.
Oh, what is he?
Plus 800.
Oh.
All right, and then the co-main event: Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg. Kai Kara France is plus 136. Erceg minus 162. I do like Erceg in that fight.
Interesting.
Erceg is one of those guys where I was like,
yeah, I thought the same because early I was like, if you asked me, like, I think I even maybe said it like a month or two ago, I would have been like, oh, like Erceg too big and all that, but the lines came down quite a bit. He was a much bigger favorite. He was like up in the like I think low twos. I thought.
Yeah.
Kai just hasn't fought in a long time. This fight just feels to me, when I envision it in my head, I just feel like it's a fight where I guess it feels a little different now because the line's closed more, but we're like, you bet Kai like the big plus money, and he like fights really hard and like loses like a tough, like close decision. That's like kind of how I envision the fight going. Like Erceg wins. Erceg like scraps out a tough decision. He's just a little bigger, just a little stronger, but Kai like has a lot of good like moments striking, lands some really good shots, some good like leg kicks and stuff like that.
I think I'm getting close to Erceg because I think his grappling upside is really big here too.
That's what I'm saying.
And Erceg's grappling even against Pantoja was pretty fucking good.
He impressed me against Pantoja.
I know really that fifth round it was kind of like he fumbled, but like even throughout early in those fights, like it felt like Pantoja had him in some situations where I was like, oh my God, he may submit him here. Erceg gets out, and then I think Erceg even took him down once or twice. And I think if you can do that to fucking Pantoja, who we know is just unbelievable, I think you can do that to Kai Kara France. This is a good fight. I wasn't gonna take or anything here when it was in the minus 200, but he keeps dropping, which makes me a little bit nervous. But then again, we've seen lines drop like this and then guys come in. Like you should pick who you want to pick. Like, don't get too crazy about it. But especially with a fight like this, but it'll be interesting. And like Kai hasn't really fought in a while.
It's that Albazi fight was the last fight, which he got robbed. We talked about it quite a bit. It was almost 2 years ago. It was a year ago.
A year ago, last summer.
I knew it was summer. I remember. I think I had deja vu. I said I was at my.
We were talking about it. Remember, we were talking.
Oh, it was my mom's birthday.
I was at my aunt's shore house. It was like August something, maybe
June 3rd.
June or even earlier.
But I think I'm gonna. I really like Erceg. I think he's.
I do too. He checked every box in that Pantoja fight.
Yeah,
crazy. I think some people even
cardio, grappling, dude. He was hurting him striking.
Pantoja's just,
he's a zombie.
He's just a dynamite fighter. Like, it's unbelievable. But Usyk, this is great. Would be a great win for him. Another huge win. Is this his first time he's fought in front of? Because he fought in MSG.
Like Australia fans.
I thought was he because he beat Dvorak in his debut. That was how he kind of like he got in the rankings.
No, I think that was in Canada.
Was that Canada?
Yeah,
he beat Dvorak
last year.
He beat Dvorak. He beat Alessandro Costa. He beat Schnell.
Yeah, Canada, New York, Vegas, Brazil.
Okay, so
those are all his UFC.
So
fights.
it's a homecoming for him, and
boy.
Obviously Kai too, but this is it's
there'll
big.
be more for Usyk. I bet the crowd.
It's Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, I always mix up like the Australian,
because they usually like the New Zealand guys. They get the Aussie love, like the Dan. Like it'll be a massive Dan Hooker crowd.
Yep.
It'll be like
kind of like
an Adesanya.
If it was
crowd.
New York versus Jersey, it's like but then it's like it's Jersey versus Cali. It's like no, I'm Jersey. Someone like me, I'm like no, Jersey. Let's ride with Jersey.
And then the main event, obviously the fight that everyone's here for. Dricus du Plessis defends the title against Israel Adesanya. What is the actual money? Oh, it's a pick'em.
Massive line movement.
Yeah.
Massive.
What is
Adesanya was like a big favorite.
So he was like he opened like minus 180,
close.
And now both minus 110. It's an interesting fight. I've talked myself into Adesanya personally.
Okay, let's do a 3-2-1 because I haven't talked to Ev about this.
Yeah,
because I have a pretty firm stance. Or do you not?
I have like who I think I'm gonna. I'm gonna bet.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. DDP.
Adesanya.
Oh wow!
I'm like not as firm. Like I think it's what I'm going to bet now that the line is the way it is. But I don't know what I totally understand everyone betting DDP. Like I get it. Like I think his style is like is what's done well against Adesanya in the past. It's like the Gastelum, the Strickland, the forward pressure, a little bit awkward.
Yeah,
like everything. So that's where I think I'm gonna bet Adesanya. I don't think I'm gonna like unload on him or anything. And if he was minus 180, I definitely wouldn't have done it. It's the fact that it's gotten so close to a pick'em that I probably will do it. For me, I've said it a few times before. I just see like there's something about Izzy in hunter mode that I think he's like a different guy. Like when he's the hunter, not the hunted. I think he's the hunter now. And whenever he's been the hunter, he always has shown up.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
That's
every
what
time.
Went through my mind.
When he lost to Pereira, him like just on his way up, like when he was like before he had the belt, him against like Whitaker the first time, like he's so much more aggressive. And I think when he's more aggressive, he actually fights like better. Like I think he gets 2 on the back foot, like in a lot of the fights, like the ones he's accused of being boring, Cannonier. Romero was kind of unique, but even like Vettori, some of these fights, like where he just stays on the back foot, kind of just does what he needs to do, wins an easy decision, doesn't get hit a lot. I think he knows, like, I want to go take this guy's head off. He's had like a year to clear his head. The Strickland one, I mean, he had been drinking. He had the DUI before that. Like
DDP has been drinking before this fight.
Yeah,
I was drinking last week.
I don't even mind that for DDP. I just think Adesanya was truly like in the like party boy phase.
Yeah.
And just thought Strickland was like an easy paycheck. And then he got what he deserved basically for not showing up like on point against a guy like Strickland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think he gets his like
MPI says, what's the line if he doesn't lose to Strickland on this fight?
Big favorite.
Huge
250.
Yeah.
If they did this fight before, if they lined this fight before that and before he fought Whitaker, he might be minus like 600.
Yeah.
Maybe not that big, but like 3, 4.
Yeah.
If both those fights hadn't happened, just what they would have, how they felt about it. But yeah, I'd pick him. I'm gonna take a shot at Adesanya. If he loses, he loses. Like I said, I wouldn't like nuclear. I've seen a lot of people dropping nukes on DDP.
The reason that I disagree with like what MPI said there, like what would this be before that? The data points that we've gotten on DDP are so huge because DDP we always thought was a phenomenal fighter, but it was his cardio that we always questioned. And he's proven now that he's the cardio. I mean, he went 5 really hard rounds with Strickland. Obviously, Izzy hits harder. Like it's tough because you kind of like you say that, but it's like, I mean, Izzy and Strickland fought and one guy went down, one guy didn't. All that being said, I think DDP really is going to get his grappling going. I wouldn't even be shocked if he submits him.
Wow.
I think he's going to, I think he's going to really, really show it off here because I also think that what we saw, DDP, like Strickland, DDP is a much bigger grappling threat than Strickland ever was to Izzy. It's probably his biggest grappling threat since
Jan. Jan would just with wrestling.
Yeah, that was like almost Right. Jan. I think Jan. I was gonna say like Vittori.
Maybe I was Vittori,
maybe, but I think DDP's like almost like he's just, and I also think DDP just has this crazy. Now I will say, what's preventing me from making this like big bet is Izzy still Izzy. Izzy the Hunter. I think it's a real narrative. But I really like DDP here. I really missed out on the line, but I still like him. I think I'm going to definitely have something on submission. I'm definitely going to look at him for someone even late too. I think he may even find a way to drain Izzy a little bit early on. What my game plan would shoot some takedowns round 1, round 2, try to find a submission when you're a little bit not as sweaty and whatnot, and then kind of go from there. But on the feet, I mean, it's tough because what gave, like, for Izzy, his striking so fluid, so technical, like it's great. But DDP's like this weird, like it's even like you even saw what he did to Strickland. Like it's like Strickland couldn't really
disorienting.
He would get going, but then he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, I still think Strickland won that fight, but I could kind of see it being similar. Now, then again, it's -110. But I really think I've been thinking about this fight. I really like DDP in I think he's I know it's kind of, he just won the belt. There could be a letdown, but this would be a tough letdown. He's wanted this fight for a little bit.
I'll even make a point actually for you that just for like DDP in general, and the fight up just generally, like when I just think of fighters and guys like Adesanya who don't lose much, I just think when you lose, it kind of just gets like almost a little easier to lose.
Yes.
Where DDP just, I mean, he hasn't lost in the UFC.
Usman said that, where he said,
Usman, I think, was the first. I said it like when I was thinking about him versus Hamzat. I was like, the thing is, just once you lose, like you lost to Leon, you lose again to Leon. I think I might have even said that with him after Leon. But yeah, just once you, like, when you're on a big run like that, and then you finally, like,
I think he said it.
Although Adesanya is I'll give Adesanya a little credit where, I mean, he lost to Pereira and then just knocked him silly.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's why I think I'm not like fully, that's why I'm like staying on Adesanya. I haven't fully like jumped off.
Yeah.
Because I just think he, as the Hunter, is like has more of a mindset. I think he has more left in the tank than like an Usman, for example, has.
100%.
Usman's knees are old, whatever. Like Adesanya, I think is a little more spry.
Yeah.
But physically, I'll say at least.
That point from Usman was really, I think he even said after the Hamzat fight, he's like, when you lose 3 in a row, it's kind of tough because then it just like kind of becomes like,
you're just like,
yeah,
I made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Going home. You start having that mentality. Going, made a lot of money. You have a beautiful baby girl at home. You know what I mean?
Like, and also he's like, Izzy's like, of UFC fighters of this generation or of all time, he's probably one of the most richest UFC fighters ever, outside of obviously McGregor's number 1.
He might be like
number 2
outside of McGregor potentially. I'm saying in the last like 5-10 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Jones made a ton of money for that non-fight.
Jones,
so,
Masvidal,
but I know, but they said
Masvidal,
Nate Diaz made a ton.
Poirier may be up there.
Poirier now is probably made, but if you think Adesanya, the amount of times he main evented pay-per-views,
points, yeah,
he might be too.
He never got enough credit for. Now the only thing that may have fucked him was he had to pay double tax. Because he had to pay American and New Zealand. Like,
so maybe that's
So, but all that being said, we know Izzy is doing very well for himself, which is great. And then what would you prefer here? Now, obviously, take away that you're betting on it. Would you rather see DDP Strickland 2 or Izzy Strickland 2?
Izzy Strickland 2, personally.
I want to.
That fight was so shocking to me that I was like, I need to see if that would happen again.
I want to see DDP Strickland 2.
So let me if I'm taking out the narrative for, all right, so let me say that. I'll say if Izzy won, I'd rather see him fight Strickland again. If DDP lost, I'd rather see him fight Strickland. But take out the element of like, there's no way like Izzy would lose and just keep getting these title shots. If you take that part out of it, that's where I go. Because like I think obviously if Izzy loses, he can't just like run it back again unless it's like the best fight of all time.
No, I was asking, would you rather see Izzy Strickland 2 or DDP Strickland 2? So essentially,
I guess I explained it in a bad way of what I was thinking. It would just like depend on who won, even though it seems like a cop out answer. But I think because if Izzy like had this great performance and won, I would rather see him like kind of just be like, oh, like let's see if he could like right the like let's see did he just have a bad night? Did he just kind of like not take it too seriously and did he overlook him? Whereas but if he loses and I think he's just like cooked, then like I'd rather just see Strickland and DDP run it back.
got it. I see what you're saying. You would rather like,
and it has nothing to do with like deserved title shots and like things like that.
I see.
It's just the way it would unfold, like would kind of determine.
No, I actually see it. I perfectly see what you're saying. Sorry, I didn't like. I was like, I think I just miscomprehended what you said it as at first.
It sounded better in my head than when I was. That's why I was trying to like.
You want to see how they look.
Yeah, I want like that's. I want to see how Izzy looks before I basically answer the question.
Got it.
Before we do the parlay, let's remind everyone PFL playoffs are Friday. This Friday, August 16th. Light heavyweights, lightweights headed to Hollywood, Florida. Win or go home. They're competing for a spot in the $1 million PFL World Championship. We will all be there. It's going to be a great time. If you want to be there, there's tickets still available. But if you can't make it to Florida, don't miss out on the action. It's Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus.
Prelims start before that.
Yep. Prelims before that on ESPN Plus as well. It's going to be a very good card. We talked about the matchups before. You've got Impa, you've got Rob Wilkinson, you've got DeFort, you've got Collard and Primus. It's going to be awesome. So don't miss out. The PFL playoffs continue in Florida.
Yeah, Impa's a minus 650 favorite. Wilkinson minus 180.
What are the Collard odds on that?
Minus 140 plus 100. I kind of like Primus. Maybe Primus around 2 rounds, but Collard's a dog. Then Elvin Espinal and Mads Bernal. Thad G minus 475. There's some big lines on this one, obviously, with Ali Walsh, Sabatello. But you know, maybe you'll find some value. We'll tweet out.
I said Nico before.
We'll tweet out all our plays. We'll be there. It'll be fun. Shout out PFL. We always appreciate the love from PFL, keeping us in business.
And now for the parlay this week. What are we thinking for the parlay?
So I
said we should have.
I was looking just from kind of what we feel like what we all were like saying and somewhat agreeing on. Right? We'll put. Do we want to put one that early in? I'm down to it. I guess it doesn't start.
I think it's safe. It's safe enough to throw it in there.
Do we want to put Jenkins?
Yep.
Put Prates?
Yep. I feel good about Prates.
Do we get crazy?
Do we Bam Bam? Was that who you were thinking when you were saying crazy? That's who I was too.
And just leave it at those three.
I was gonna say
Bam. And then Urzak.
That's who I had. Urzak.
That'll probably give us like a 10-1.
It's
plus 550.
Well, because Jenkins is minus 800, so he doesn't do like much for it.
Yeah.
Jenkins the difference is 478 and 5.
You want to just take fucking Jenkins out then?
That's why I think it's almost like it's so, like let's
just for the main and we can promote it more.
Because then do Prates, Bam Bam, Urzak is like
plus 470. Yeah,
plus 478.
All right, let's do that. It's Prates, Bam Bam, and Steve Urzak, the Astro Boy.
What is it?
It's plus 478.
All right, cool. That's a nice little.
And the last one being the hardest one to get is, gives it a little more. It's nice. We're building up to it.
That would be scenes if, but
yeah, it would be.
We might, yeah.
If Bam Bam takes it home for us, or I guess no, Steve Urzak's the last one. Put it in.
Still,
no, but Bam Bam is the one you're like.
Yes.
If Prates gets home like Bam, you're sweating Bam Bam.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
On time, baby.
That's the 305 preview show. We'll be back after the card for a recap, so make sure you come back to the channels